Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the liberal loudmouth. So on Friday, the Supreme Court basically gave the government the green light, at least temporarily until appeals are heard, gave them the green light to go ahead and censor you. The government now can censor you as per the Supreme Court until this finally resolves itself. Well, how are they supposed to be able to do that since we have the First Amendment that you can't abridge the right to free speech? You can't do that. You're the government. You can't tell people to shut up. Well, you can if they use a corporation by proxy. Okay, so if Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter are getting their palms greased by the federal government, well, they could just be paid off. Or maybe the federal government comes in and says, hey, if you don't take this content down, all of this content, well, we're going to find a way to make your life a living hell. It appears that that's what was happening with Twitter under Jack Dorsey, that Elon Musk exposed, which led to the lawsuit and which led to me being able to say the things that I believed on Facebook and on Twitter without being deleted or censored in any way. Well, it didn't take them but 3 days. Today, on Facebook, they claim that I am a dangerous criminal and a dangerous organization, and they have all but banned me from Facebook. Now, I can still post, oddly enough, but I can't join any groups. I can't go live. I can't do any join any phone calls. Basically, they're keeping me from being able to talk to each other because I guess they think I'm a terrorist, which is crazy. They claim that I had supported some terrorist action, which never happened. And the post that they claimed that I made that led to this, as you can see here, they didn't tell me what it was. They didn't show what it was, though I know I've never praised a terrorist action. Now, what I have done, however, is disagreed with the Israeli official narrative. I don't believe Israel any more than I believe Hamas. They're all liars. They all push propaganda, as does the United States, as does every country on earth. You can't believe what the government is telling you because they'll say one thing and do another. For example, in Israel, did you know that these people went and planted bombs in Egypt once and then one of them detonated early and they got caught? It's known as the Levant affair. These are things that these countries have done. We've done them in the United States. But if you point this out to anybody, if you speak against Israel, we're going to get you. You can't disagree with what Israel's doing because if you do, that's because you're an anti-Semite. None of this makes any sense, folks. But this is the world now that we've created around ourselves. And we can't allow the government to continue doing these things. No, a government should not be allowed, or at least this government should not be allowed to use a private organization to push its own narrative onto people, because then you've got the Ministry of Truth out there that is the government that's taking old newspaper articles, rewriting them, and then burning the originals. And then the only information that you'll be able to find online is information that was approved by the U.S. government's Ministry of Truth. Do we really want to live in actual 1984? I mean, we're basically there already, but I'd rather not. At some point, maybe 10 years ago, I was like, man, we are in 1984 minus the attack dogs that were the robot dogs that would chase after you. Well, we have those now, so I guess we're like literally in 1984. Was George Orwell like a time traveler or something? This is wild to me. Your TVs listen to you. Your phones listen to you. Everything is watching you. Now they're putting up CCTV everywhere. And matter of fact, the whole smart city movement, smart city, that's actually coming out of Israel, because in the West Bank, you have these, they call it a smart city, or Hebron rather. In Hebron, they call it a smart city because they have facial recognition software and cameras all over the place. They have cameras pointing at people's houses. They have microphones that listen to everything. They even have AI-powered guns that will literally make a decision to kill somebody based on, I don't know, whatever parameters I guess Israel decides it needs to shoot at you for. So that is what they consider a smart city, where every person that walks through has to go through a checkpoint. Palestinians, mind you, not the Israelis. Palestinians have to go through these checkpoints. They take pictures of their faces. They document who they're traveling with. It all goes into this database, which is accessible by settlers, if you will, Israelis who have plopped themselves in the middle of Palestinian territory and then get 24-hour security service paid for by the Israeli government to go in there and populate an area to help push out the Palestinians. They call that a smart city. And now they're working with cities right here in the United States to push these smart city solutions, because they want to watch everything you do. They want to hear everything you say. They want to know everywhere you go. They don't want you to have any freedom whatsoever. The government wants it, and it's either because the corporations want to force sell you using psychological manipulation based on your, psyche at the time, or the government just wants to be able to off you if they feel like they need to for some reason. This is a problem, folks. We can't stand for this. This is a bigger issue than I think the Israel-Gaza conflict going on right now. This severe lack of the ability to speak the truth in the face of all of these lies. And I've got to say, the government does a lot of lying. There are all these things that they do that we just aren't going to know about until 50 years afterwards. Things like Operation Northwoods. If you're not familiar with that, look it up. It was a plan that the U.S. military came up with to justify us invading Cuba back after the failed Bay of Pigs. I've talked about this on this channel before. And see, I'm sure YouTube now, since the government now has the green light and they're going ahead and they're banning people for things that they say, well, I'm sure YouTube's going to ban my channel yet again, which they did 7 years ago, and I only just recently got it back, and that was because they didn't like what I said about Donald Trump. This is a problem, folks. We've got to fix it. This is not something that we can just walk away from, because our freedoms literally are at stake, and all the people out there who are so worried about the Second Amendment, oh, I got to keep my gun. That gun isn't going to do you any good if you cannot first speak about your problems. Maybe that's a backup, but that is the absolute last resort when it comes to tyranny. And right now we are facing tyranny. We're seeing it right now. It is not a coincidence that 3 days after the government was greenlit to continue telling social media companies what to say, who to edit, who to ban, who to remove, it's no coincidence that right after that, my account got banned again after it hadn't been banned or blocked in any way for months. Because I never say the official narrative is exactly what we should be parroting. It just doesn't happen. Folks, you've got to get out there and scream to the high heavens. Share this video because it's going to happen to you next. Peace.